Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. This is Sarah Profit. I'm the instructional designer that's been managing the development of PARA210. Today we're just going to go through a brief overview of the course and go through the syllabus file, talk about the grading section of the course, and then just go through a few sessions in Blackboard so you can see that. We also have Abby Stemler on the line, who is our course developer that's been working on PARA210. She's our subject matter expert and has been compiling all of the content, learning materials, and assessments for the course. So just a brief summary of what we've done so far is we start with gathering the materials that are going to be used for the course, the required materials like the textbook, and then seeing if we have any other publisher materials available to us. In this case, we didn't have a whole lot of publisher materials yet. This is a Pearson text, and they are working on getting more digital materials for us in the future that are not available at this time. So that's something that we will wait on to implement that at a later date. Something else that happened right at the beginning of development, which you should have seen come across your email, is the session alignment matrix, or the SAM file. And this is a complete blueprint of the course, basically, that shows alignment between the course outline of record objectives, the competencies that Abby has written, which are specific skills that students will demonstrate, and then all of the learning materials, assessments, and supplemental materials are included in there as well. So roles and expectations are pretty straightforward here. So obviously Abby, our course developer, like I said earlier, is our subject matter expert and has compiled all of the content for the course and outlined the blueprint that I talked about earlier, the SAM, and she's implemented that SAM file into Blackboard. And then you as committee members, we always are asking for feedback. You're enrolled in the course as a student, so at any time you can go and look around and take quizzes and look at all the different content that's been added in and give us your feedback. And then my role, obviously, is to manage the project timelines, to keep the structure of the course sound and technically and content-wise. And once we're finished with development, then I'm in charge of getting the technical check process moving, and then I will release the course once everything has been checked, and it will roll out for the first time in fall semester. So that's everybody's roles here. So what we'll do now is I'm going to switch over and give Abby presenter rights. She's going to start with the syllabus file and just give us a brief overview of the textbooks that we're going to be using, and then the grading section. Those are the only two things that have really been changed on the syllabus. Everything else is pretty standard for Ivy Tech. So Abby, I'm going to change it over to you now.
Thank you. Again, my name is Abby Stemler. I've been working on this course. To start, we are using the Pamela S. Gibson Wills Trust and Probate Law for Paralegals text, a pretty practical text, a lot of examples. The summaries in the text are good, but definitely we have expanded on them in the course. And
Are you still there, Abby?
going down grading, we have class participation activities and discussion, exercises that students have to participate in throughout the semester, discussion forums, application questions. Throughout the course, students have to compile a wills and trust dictionary incorporating all the new vocabulary they've learned. In addition, we have 4 content quizzes to help students prepare for the exams. These quizzes are multiple choice and are similar to the types of questions and the level of difficulty they see on the exams. There are 2 open book online exams. They are not cumulative. One exam covers the first portion of the course, sessions 1 through 7, and the second exam covers. So as you can see here, there are 17 class/discussion activities worth 400 points, 4 session quizzes worth 160 points total, 40 points apiece, and 2 exams worth progressively more, 200 for the first exam, exam, and 240. For the second exam.
Hey, Abby, can you hear me okay?
Blackboard.
Are you there, Abby?
And see how, of course, usual, we have sessions. Sarah might have to defer to
Abby, are you there? Okay, I'm going to see if Abby can call in by phone.
you. Computer does not seem to want to load.
Abby, can you hear me? Abby, are you there? Okay, so my apologies, we're having a little bit of an audio issue here, so we're going to switch over to Blackboard now. Oh.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. I know I couldn't hear you either.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so
I
I'll
guess
just share my
if you
screen.
can. That's great. So if you go to the class sessions and kind of scroll down, you can see I've organized the course starting with the importance of estate planning and the importance of this course, why we care about it. We jumped then into intestate succession, what happens if you die without a will, and what rules apply in Indiana if you die without a will. That again reinforces to the students that it is important to plan ahead so that you don't have the state decide where your assets will go. We then go down to actually starting the estate planning process, and the most important element of that is, of course, a will. So we learn the proper steps for will execution. Students will actually draft a very simple will as part of their assignments. We then go into gift law and what can be included in a will, when is a gift valid, the difference between inter vivos gifts and gifts that are left in a will. That then would conclude the first section of the course, and they would have an exam. Sarah, you could jump in the exam and show that we have a variety of matching questions, multiple choice, and essay. So this is the instructor's view of that, but and the questions they haven't seen the questions, of course, before, but they have seen the level of difficulty based on the quizzes that they take. So they'll have taken 2 quizzes. All right, and then let's keep going to part 2, and then we'll go back and jump into an actual class to see how each session is kind of organized. So after exam 1, students will then dive into more complex estate planning by looking at trusts. So we'll have 3 sections on what is a trust, how is one created, the duties of trustees in trust situations. We then go on to guardianship, of what happens if you need to plan for the well-being of your children, who will take care of them once you pass, if you pass, and what would happen if you became mentally incompetent, who would take care of you, those type of planning issues. We then jump into tax, and per the course, the objectives, I only focus on federal gift and estate tax. We did not cover any Indiana-specific taxes. But with the federal and estate taxes, students will figure out the relationship between those 2 taxes. And then we go on to other estate planning documents, powers of attorney, living wills, advance directives. And then in conclusion, we spend 2 sessions going through the actual process of estate administration, from when somebody passes to finishing up the closing documents and paying income tax. And then students will take exam 2, covering sessions 8 through 15. All right, Sarah, if you could go up to session 3, I'd like to show kind of what a session would looks like. All right, so each session begins with an overview, as usual, and describes what objectives will be discussed in the course and the session, and describes the content for the session. In this session, we have a video, Captivate video, that is interactive. The students also have our reading, some Indiana code sections, and somewhat unique to this course, because the content is very complex and requires a lot of vocabulary and that sort of thing. For most sections, students have a worksheet to fill out as they watch either the Captivate video or a presentation. So this worksheet will help guide their learning of the material, give them something to walk away with when they've completed the session. So as students will watch the Captivate section, they will fill out this document. The Captivate session includes a voiceover by me and some interactive exercises. As you'll see here. the students would fill in things, and it'll tell them whether or not they're correct or not. So that one would be half, 1/2. You want to type that in and submit. And then the student would continue. And then they would have to, again, fill out more and continue through the lesson. All right, if you go back to class 3 or session 3, the board, and go to assignments and assessments. Every class, of course, has some type of assignment and assessment. In this class, we have, of course, an entry into the Wills and Trusts Dictionary. Students have to define for this session per capita, a self-proving clause, and with these definitions they include in their Wills and Trusts Dictionary. It has to be in their own words, and they have to provide an example for each definition they define. And by the end of the course, there are about 25 definitions they've compiled for their dictionary that they submit in the last session. And you can see in this session I also have a quiz, and the quizzes, because they're preparatory exercises, students are allowed to take them as many times as they want. They're not timed. They're mostly about helping students master the content. Okay. And I think that's about it, unless you want me to go into another session, Sarah.
Is there any other activity that differs from what we already
saw? You can
saw?
go into drafting a will. That is a
okay. Yeah, let's look at that activity.
One of the few this is a very large activity. Our students are actually required to draft a legal document. Most of the time, students are simply reading documents and answering questions, but because one of the objectives for the course is to be able to draft a simple will, students are given ample instructions and a hypothetical case where they actually have to draft a sample will, and their sample documents both attached and included in their textbook.
Okay. I think the only other thing, that if there's no other activities that are different, then we can just take a peek at the final exam, since we already looked at the midterm.
Okay.
Is there anything else between session 5 and 16?
You can maybe go to the estate tax session. We've got an example of applying your knowledge questions. So, yeah, if you go to assessments, assignments and assessments. So when students do not have a discussion, they have these applying your knowledge questions, which require either outside research or some more time to actually dive into issues. Most of these are essay and kind of have the students actually engage with material they're taught.
Okay, I'm going to go just open up the final real quick.
Okay. The final structure, similar to the midterm, starts with matching, but because the final is worth more points, it's a little longer. There are more essays. There are 10 multiple choice questions, as you can see. And then a series of essays.
Okay. And then here you were talking about the dictionary earlier. So here's that,
Yes.
the link for that, the final version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it. And then the only other thing I would think we could just mention is that for any of the assignments that have rubrics, which we'll look into making sure that we have rubrics for any assignments that need that, those would just be in the resources area, so we can make sure that those are included. And as well, the start here, step 3, I just want to point this out real quick. For some of the presentations that are included in here, the multimedia presentations, there's some steps here for students on how to make sure that their computer can view those presentations. They're going to see just a blank screen and think that it's an error message, but here there's some verbiage to let them know how to fix that issue, and then some information on pop-up blockers if they need to disable those as well. Other than that, I think we should be good. Anything else, Abby, that I forgot?
I don't think so.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for all your hard work, and we will
Thank you.
finish this up.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
All right.